Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar about the Young Farmer and Agriculturist Achievement Award. My name is Wendy Cannell. I'm the Director of Training and Leadership Development here at Wisconsin Farm Bureau, and I coordinate our state's Young Farmer and Agriculturist program. So we're really excited about your interest in completing the YFA Achievement Award. As a reminder, the Achievement Award is for our members who make a majority of their income, 50% of their income, from production agriculture. So you assumed some type of risk for or in production agriculture. The important thing to remember is that you need to provide, if chosen for the Final Four, you will need to provide at least 3 years of records, production records, on the application. And so if you have any questions about that, please let me know. So if it's your first year of farming, you'll have to wait a couple of years, so you need to provide at least 3 years of information. So I'm going to share with you today how to access the new online application and give you some tips and tricks on filling out the application. As a reminder, they are due on July the 9th by 4:00 p.m. And since we are utilizing this new online system, it's important to remember that 4:00 deadline is the deadline. So we need to make sure that all applications are in by that time. I'm going to start off by showing you the website and how you can find all of the information that you need to complete the application. If you have any questions about this, please let me know. I'd be more than happy to talk to you on the phone, or if you want to send me an email. Also, don't forget about your district coordinator and your district YFA representative. They are great tools for you to utilize as you go through the application process. So to get started, what you're going to want to do is go to WFBF.com. If you haven't been there in a while, you're going to notice that our website had a facelift. And so if you're used to seeing the old website, I'll show you where you can find our Young Farmer program now. So if you go to WFBF.com, find programs, you'll want to find Young Farmer and Agriculturist. It's going to have a pop-out menu, and then you're going to choose YFA contests. This is for the Achievement Award, so you can see Chad and Katrina Gleason, who were our winners last year. You can click on Achievement Award, and here's where you'll find all of the information about the contest. The biggest piece that you'll need to know is this big red box, the 2018 Achievement Award application. That is where you're going to go and apply online. Other things that you'll find on the website is the signature page, which I'll talk about in just a little bit, a Word document. So if you want to complete the application in the Word document just for spelling and grammar, to do some spell check and grammar check before you submit it online, you are more than welcome to do that. We also have the applications tip for success, and then we have a sample application. So if you're kind of wondering, well, what would be included in this section, we have that sample application provided. So if you click on the big red box that talks about the Achievement Award application, it's actually going to take you to a different website. We use a program called FormSite. The first page that you should see are the rules of the contest. And so you can take a look, make sure that you meet all of the eligibility requirements, make sure that you are looking at the entry form and application guidelines in terms of not using any abbreviations or acronyms, things like that. And then you can see how the contest will be scored. If you are in or are selected for the Final Four, I will provide you additional information after we announce the Final Four contestants. So my contact information is there, and then all you need to do is click Next. This will take you to the actual application, which you'll fill in right here. The really great thing about the application is that you don't have to complete it in one sitting. So you can actually create an account. What you need to do is just click on Create an Account. Then if this is the first time using this, you'll create your username, a password, and also include your email address, and then hit Submit. So that will be your username and password. Make sure you keep your username and password in a safe place so you remember where that's at. So you'll want to do that first and foremost, hit submit, get that username and password. When you come back in to work on your application, you're just going to hit that button again, but this time you're going to go to the other side because you're a returning user. Put in your username, put in your password, hit submit, and it will bring you back to your actual application. And so you'll go in, you'll see which portions are required if you were applying as a single or a couple. If you're applying as a couple, obviously applicant number 2 is required, but anything with a red asterisk will be required information that we are going to need from you. I'm going to take it off of this website just so I can show you the application here in the Word document and kind of go through some of those questions that you might have about the application, give you some tips and tricks, which are also located in the Tips for Success section or the link there. So once again, the rules and regulations of applying, how to save your information. The first page is just general information, and then we go into the actual application part. So the first question is pretty easy, giving us your family, your personal background. Remember, you need to write it in first person. So I, me, we are some of those words that you're going to be using. And you're going to notice that you have a character limit on this Word document. And that will hold true to when you're applying online. If you're typing in this Word document, it's not going to count the characters for you, so you're going to want to be able to test it in that online application. If you're over the character limit, it will only send me at the end of the application period what fits into that character limit. So make sure that everything on the online application fits in and you are following those character limits. So you're going to go through, tell us your background, talk about your agricultural status. Are you an owner, a renter, a manager? Are you in a partnership, corporation? Give us the percentage of the capital you have involved, how much of the management and decision making do you have, and any specific responsibilities of the applicant. This is only 900 characters, and after working with young farmer members for the last few years in this section, it's really hard to put everything that you might do into 900 characters. So you might have to be a little bit creative in determining what you're going to put in that section and how you can get all of that information involved. So just some basic information here. Then we're going to move on and talk about your agricultural operation, any major crops that you produce. The important thing to remember is that you follow the format that is provided for you. We need to know, the first year that you started and where you are now. And so don't forget to include those and make sure that your application is complete. Then you're going to list other enterprises, comparing volume. So if you have a cow-calf operation, and then be creative in explaining the operation in ways that it does not fit into the first two sections. So there are other things that you do on the farm that don't necessarily fit into those crops or production numbers that could be included in this section. Try to include something. I know you think probably, oh, I don't have anything to include here, but be creative and try to put something into that section. I feel like it's best to put something rather than nothing. And so if you need help with that, definitely let us know. Then you're going to continue to talk about your operation, your farm, how you acquired it. Was it purchased? Have you gone through succession planning? Some of those things are there. Remember, we need to follow the characters per section. So it's sometimes hard to explain those situations in just a few characters, but try to be as concise as possible. And then any other agricultural business enterprises that you have. So do you have a custom harvest business on the side or do some processing? I know a lot of our young farmer members are into ag tourism. So what are some other things that you could list in that section? Letter E. This section is really important, describing significant changes or expansions or improvement in management or marketing. And so this is pretty much you telling your story about how your farm and how your operation has evolved over time. And being concise and really sharing the important information in this section is important. Then we're going to move to the goals section, and this is really, really important because you need to list the goals that you had in your first year, your current achievement, where you're at, and then a goal that you have for the future. Look at this sample that's provided. It's important that you follow that format and include that for every single thing that you list here in the progress of your operation. So you might have to think a little bit outside the box in what you want your farm operation to look like, but it's really important that you do fill that section out completely. Describe ways in which the applicant measures and evaluates the management. This section needs to be really specific. So how do you specifically measure or evaluate, know when something might be working? And then future plans for your farm. Be specific here too. And then we get to the goals section. This section is really important, and it's really, I would say, hard, I think, sometimes to think about writing SMART goals, because everyone talks about how you need to have SMART goals. If you're not familiar with SMART goals, they need to be specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. And so having SMART goals in this section will definitely make your application stand out. I can guarantee that those applications that have SMART goals compared to those applications who do not score much, much better in this section than anybody else. So having SMART goals is really, really important. A really great example of SMART goals is actually an Excellence in Ag application that we have online. So if you go to the Excellence in Ag section, so instead of Achievement Award Excellence in Ag, and go to the Excellence in Ag sample number 2, their goals, that's a really great format to follow when it comes to writing your goals. They give specific time when those want to be reached, the objectives that they're going to try to reach, and how they're going to get there. And so as much as you might not want to take the time to write those SMART goals, that is where this will be really, really important. And then your leadership experience. Anything that you can think of, an event you attended, a leadership role you've taken on, maybe you coordinated an event, please include that in this section. An important thing to note and an important thing to remember is that new rule this year is that the next 4 sections, so A, B, C, and D, need to be leadership roles that you've taken on ages 18 plus. So as soon as you became a YFA member at the age of 18, I realize maybe you weren't a Farm Bureau member at that time, but from 18 plus is what you can include in this section. So if you had some experiences in high school, some leadership roles, those cannot be included unless you were 18 years of age. So just a little heads up there, a new rule that has been applied by American Farm Bureau for this section. So first, your Farm Bureau leadership roles or opportunities, recognitions that you've had on the local level. This is where you're going to put that information. The next section is anything that you've participated in on the state or national level. Have you applied for the Achievement Award before and you were an applicant or a finalist? Have you participated in our state Young Farmer and Agriculturist Conference? Have you served on a panel speaker? Have you been one of our Lunch and Learn presenters? What are some leadership roles that you could put into this section here? And then leadership roles that you've had with other agricultural organizations outside of Farm Bureau. So maybe you're on an FSA committee, maybe you're involved with 4-H, you're FFA alumni. All of that would be included in this section. And then we really want to know outside of agriculture, what are you involved with? So your involvement in your community. Maybe it's the local Lions Club, Rotary, maybe you volunteer at your church, maybe you're a volunteer at school. All of those should be included in that section. It's important to follow the format for that as well, and include anything that you might think could fit into those areas. One of the things that I always recommend is that members talk those sections out with some of the people that they're involved in other organizations with. So they might be able to come up with some of those things because you just didn't think about them. So it's an opportunity for you to get some feedback from other people and help develop that list. For Farm Bureau things, reaching out to your county board or your district coordinator to talk out those sections to see kind of what they think might be able to fit in those areas would be really, really good. So don't forget to have other people read your application and maybe offer some comments, suggestions for you as you're completing the application. So that pretty much sums up the application portion, pretty much just talking about your farm, where you started, where you're at now, where you want to go, and including all of those within the application. So like I said, this Word document is for spelling and grammar only. You must apply for the Achievement Award online this year. Once you've completed the application, you hit submit. That actually gets sent right to me. But there is one more step, and that is for your County Farm Bureau president and for you to send in a signature page. So you can find the signature page online. This is an editable form. You just type in your information. You need to sign the form, so if you're applying as a single or as a couple. And your county president also has to sign the form. And so why is it important for your county president to sign the form? Well, it just recognizes that you have applied for this award area and that if you are chosen for the Final Four, you're automatically qualified to attend our Young Farmer and Agriculturist DC Fly-In, which happens in the even number years. So we're actually leaving next week. We're taking a group of young farmers. We're just asking that the County Farm Bureau help sponsor you by providing $250. So this is just the go-ahead from that County Farm Bureau president that, yes, if you are in the Final Four, they will definitely sponsor you that $250 for you to attend. So the signature page, while you might not think it is as important, it's really important for us in terms of record keeping and making sure that everybody understands what needs to happen for that. Other things that you'll find on the website, the tips for success, which I kind of shared in this video today. So definitely take a look at that. And then also an application sample. This is a long form minus the actual financial page. So if you're in the Final Four, we will send you a financial page that you and your banker will have to fill out and complete. And we'll be in touch once we announce the Final Four. So hopefully you found this to be a little bit helpful. I encourage you, if you have any questions, like I said at the beginning, to give me a call or send an email. Talk to your district coordinator, talk to your district YFA rep. Definitely have someone read over your application. As a reminder, the application deadline is July the 9th by 4:00 p.m. And so that's kind of a hard deadline. We need to make sure all of the applications are in by that time. With that, I'm going to sign off. Thanks for tuning in, and we hope to hear from you soon.